Okay, a very good day to everyone. Alright, welcome back to my channel. As for today, we are going to continue with our Unit 12, which is the last unit from your download textbook Form 5. So the title is Happy to Help. So now we are going to focus on one of the skills, which is your listening skill. Okay, here are our learning objectives for today's lesson. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to firstly identify the correct answers for each statement, and next you will listen for information from the recording that I will share with you later. But before that, here is our unit opener. The question is, what a good announcement when advertising a charity? Okay, what is a good announcement when advertising a charity? Okay, it means that they ask you what kind of announcement, okay, especially when we want to advertise our charity. So how you are going to attract people? What kind of information that you have to include while you are doing your announcement? So here are a few features of good announcements. It includes, first, asking direct questions to the listeners. Number 2, you can use tag questions. Number 3, punctuation and exclamation marks are also important when you are doing your announcement. And finally, your language of persuasion, showing how simple it is to join any event or any charity. Here we go. This is our first task from the listening page 154. You can refer to your textbook, page 154. So let's read the instruction. Below are some voluntary activities that people can do to help their community. So which do you think would be most suitable for groups of volunteers to do? You put G in the box, and which for individuals. So the keywords there is you have to identify the correct statements or the correct activities that is meant for groups of volunteers, sekumpulan sukarelawan. So you put G. And for individual means you alone, then you put I. So you must decide which voluntary activities would be more suitable for groups of volunteers and which would be more suitable for individual volunteers. There are 6 activities there. Alright, the first one is painting a youth center. Number 2, visiting an old person in his or her home. Number 3, delivering a disabled person's shopping. Number 4, clearing rubbish from a community garden. Number 5, organizing a food bank. And number 6, helping in a charity shop. So let's try the first one. Okay, when you want to paint any places or some buildings or maybe some centers or even your classroom, are you going to do it alone or with your friends? Yes, definitely you can't do it alone, because you can do it alone, but then it will take time. But if you do it in groups, it will definitely reduce your time, so you are able to complete the task in a few hours. You don't have to wait and come again to class to paint it again. So the answer for number 1, you can straight away put G in the box there. So the rest of the statements, you have to do it alone and then you show it to your teachers. Alright. Before I share with you the listening recording, here are our listening tips. Alright, the tips are: sometimes you can choose the wrong answer by not checking the details in the questions. Okay, it means that kadang-kadang awak boleh terpilih salah jawapan bila awak tak membaca teks tu atau soalan itu dengan betul. So what you have to do is, you have to read the questions carefully before you hear the recording and make sure you know exactly what to listen for. Okay, that is why, okay, if you notice, before we start any recording or any listening activities, your teachers would ask you to go through each question first, or maybe you are asked to highlight or underline any keywords or options given there. That is to help you, okay, to identify the correct answer. Sometimes, okay, you think it is very easy by looking at the questions at glance because you think you can understand it easily. Alright, it is very easy to make mistake if you do not check all of the details in the question, and these are often expressed in just a word or two. Kadang-kadang satu perkataan dalam soalan tu, okay, you miss it out, then you tend to choose the wrong answer. So that's why you have to read the question carefully to avoid any mistakes. Okay, here we go. Alright. Question number 2. Sometimes you might answer a question wrongly because you have not noticed a small detail in the question. So look at questions number 1 until number 4 in exercise 3 and underline a detail that someone who is not reading carefully may not notice. Okay, so you must underline the details from the question number 1 until number 4. Alright, so let's have a look first. The first question there. Okay, what sorts of things do good gym members do as a group? So which word or which phrase that you think someone who is not reading carefully may not notice it? Yes, the answer would be as a group. Okay, because why? Kadang-kadang dalam recording tu, they mention everything, but you don't listen it carefully because some of the information may relate to individual, and next after that it will relate to as a group. So awak kena dengar betul-betul bila dia mention pasal about as a group, then only you can choose the answers. Okay, number 2. How do elderly or disabled people benefit from good gym? Okay, the words or the phrase is elderly or disabled. Okay, because maybe in the audio later, you can also hear or listen the word young people or all people, but the question asks for elderly or disabled people. Okay, number 3. What did Good Gym members do on their last community event? Okay, correct. The word is last. So it is important to listen to the word which is last. Then only you can identify the correct answer. Okay, number 4. What do all good gym runners have to do? And the word is all. Not only specific group of runners, but all runners. What do they have to do? Okay, so now for practice 3, you will hear a short radio announcement and some questions. Before the announcement, you will have time to read the questions. Listen to the radio announcement and choose the best answer from the answer choices A, B, C, or D. So I'm going to play the recording now. Listen carefully.
Unit 12. Listening. Exercise 3.
Do you ever feel that it's about time you did some voluntary work for your community? Sometimes it can be difficult to know where to start, can't it? Well, if you like the idea of doing something to help and you enjoy keeping fit, I might have just the solution for you. An organisation called Good Gym helps community groups, elderly people and disabled people, but it also helps its volunteers to keep themselves fit because they run to all their projects. Good Gym has 2 main types of projects: group work, where volunteers run together to do a task, and individual tasks, where volunteers run somewhere on their own to do something useful. The group projects often involve work on a community garden or youth centre. Some tasks might involve clearing rubbish from an area, for example, whereas others involve perhaps painting walls or railings. Volunteers usually start at a cafe, run to the project location, do the job, run back and finish off with a cup of tea and a piece of cake. It's a great way to make friends, have fun, get fit and do something useful. Good Gym also arranges good deeds for individuals to do. They run to the home of an elderly or disabled person who's unable to leave their house perhaps. They stay and chat for a while, and then run home. And they do this regularly, so they develop a friendship with the person. Other tasks are one-off, such as changing a light bulb or delivering someone's shopping. On the most recent group event, members ran to a community garden. Local people had created the garden and had planted lots of flowers and trees, but they needed some help keeping the area clear of rubbish, so that's where Good Gym members were able to lend a hand. Anyone can join Good Gym. All you have to do is attend one of the group runs and fill in a form. The organisers will arrange a police check, which must be passed for safety reasons, and ask you if you'd like to make a donation, although this isn't compulsory. Then you can participate in whichever group runs or individual visits you like, whenever you feel like it. Why not give Good Gym a try? Not only could you help local people and organisations, but you could also help yourself by keeping fit, and we all need to do that, don't we? Check out the website at www.goodgym.org.
Okay, so that's it. If you want to listen to it again, you may replay the video and listen for the answers. And please check your answers with your teachers. Okay, so now I'm going to provide you with another listening activity, but this time around what you have to do, you have to screenshot the questions and listen for the recording as well. Alright, now you will hear part of a radio interview with a woman called Rachel Reed, who works in a commercial art gallery, a shop which sells works of art. For questions 24 until 30, choose the best answer, A, B, or C. So the first question, which is number 24, what does Rachel say about her job title? Okay, apa pendapat Rachel tentang her job title? Number 25, what is the most common reason for the gallery not exhibiting an artist's work? So the keywords there is the most common reason. Okay, sebab kebiasaan. Number 26, when can phone calls from artists be difficult for Rachel? Alright, this one is phone call from artists. And 27, why does Rachel include a commentary in the catalogue? Alright, so the keywords there, include a commentary. And 28, what does Rachel say about administrative work? Alright, again, her opinions about her administrative work. 29, what is Rachel's role in the service the gallery offers to large companies? So there, Rachel's role. And 30, what does Rachel find most enjoyable about her job? Alright, this one, most enjoyable. So I'm going to play for the audio. Listen carefully and jot down your answers.
This evening in our series Careers with a Difference, our guest is Rachel Reed, who works for a small commercial art gallery. Rachel, welcome.
Hello.
Rachel, what exactly do you do?
Well, there's two great things about working for a really small company. Firstly, you get to do a bit of everything. The other is that you can practically invent your job title. Mine is marketing manager, although I do a lot of other things too. It does describe the majority of what I do.
So, tell us about your day.
Well, it all starts with the huge pile of post we get. We often get artists sending in photographs of their work to see if we'd be interested in exhibiting it. I learned very early on how to differentiate between the possibles and those which are unsuitable.
But how do you tell?
It might be the style, or sometimes the subject matter is just not going to look right in our gallery. But more often than not, it's just that they're not of the required standard. The possibles I pass on to the gallery manager, who makes the final decision.
So you have quite a lot of contact with artists?
Yes. Sometimes I spend nearly all day on the phone, and about 50% of the time it's artists. I send letters explaining why we can't show their work. Some of them phone up to argue about it. I find those calls very hard to deal with. Artists we do exhibit also phone to find out if we've managed to sell anything, and, if we have, when the money will be coming through. I don't mind those so much. Most other calls are from clients. We have a new artist exhibiting here every 2 to 4 weeks, and before the show takes place, we send out a catalogue to the clients on our database.
Obviously the catalogue's illustrated.
Oh, yes. And as soon as the catalogue goes out, we start getting phone calls because people see something they like and want to reserve it. Sometimes they even buy things over the phone. The catalogue also contains a commentary about the artist, which I have to write and research. I try to find out what has influenced them, where they learned to paint, what the subject matter represents, that sort of thing. But I try to avoid quoting from positive reviews of their work. It's not meant to be advertising as such.
So your job is not all administrative.
Compared to a typical office, that side of it's quite minimal. That's why I can cope without an assistant. There are systems in place to deal with routine jobs. For instance, I don't have to send out the catalogues. The company which prints them also prints the envelopes and posts them. Another company takes care of the food and drinks when we have the opening of a new exhibition.
And are you involved in other aspects of the business?
Yes. We also offer a consultancy service for large companies that want to display works of art in their offices. I phone round companies, explain what we do, and if they're interested, make an appointment for the gallery manager to go and see them. It's interesting. The companies tend to go much more for modern or abstract art than people coming to the gallery.
And the best part of the job for you?
The really rewarding thing for me is that you never know how a day is going to go. Some days it'll be really quiet, other days it's really busy and you don't know what you're going to have to cope with. And there's the added bonus of working with really nice people. And of course I have the pleasure of spending my days surrounded by beautiful works of art. So I can't complain.
Thank you, Rachel.
Okay, so that's it. As usual, you can replay the audio again to listen for the information. So before we end the class, here is another reflection question for you. Okay, the question is, have you promoted, any charities? Alright, the question is, have you promoted any charities? So what did you do? Alright, you may share with me later your answers. If you can see the logo there, it represents MAKNA, M-A-K-N-A. So it stands for Majlis Cancer Nasional or National Cancer Council. So what about you? Have you ever promoted any charities before? So share with me your answers later during your class. Think that's it for today's. So thank you very much for staying with me. I will continue later with your writing skill for your last unit. So as usual, stay safe everyone.